Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Happy Pride Month, happy Pride Day, happy Pride Year, all year long. As I said in my short, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I was gonna have a video talking about pride and how you can support your family members, your coworkers, your friends. I'm going to have a couple different videos on that. And today I do have Kenyona Sunny Matthews, and I know several of you content creators out there with a couple different channels do follow Sunny on your Instagram. I did see that when I looked on the Instagram, a couple of you. So I'm really happy to have Sunny here. And before I go any further, I do want to remind everyone, if you do like the video, remember to hit the like button and hit also the little bell so that you do get notified when any of my videos do come up. And don't forget to subscribe. As you see, I'm actually up to 576 subscribers. Just about a month ago, I only had 11, so we are growing, and I appreciate all of my subscribers. So first I met Sunny. How long ago was it that I met you?
I think we met recently because you guys had a fundraiser for Final Farewell Project.
Yep, I think we just met a couple months ago, and she's now on our board.
We met through that. I don't know who suggested me though.
Yeah, it was just recent, and now she's on our board of directors, and she is incredible. So I since this month, and not just this month, all year long, as you guys all know, I have wanted to do a lot of content on the LGBTQ community. And although I am a commentary channel, I also have kind of morphed into doing some interviews on mental health, the recovery community, and a lot of LGBTQ content. So with that, I'm going to let Sunny go ahead, and it's going to be just a conversation. And if anybody has any comments or questions, feel free to put it in the comment section, and I will address it, and I will make sure that we answer your comments later. So go ahead, Sunny.
Well, hello. My name is Sunny Matthews. I love Doreen, so she invited me to come on, and she was like, "What do you want to talk about?" And what I've had on my heart and what's in my spirit, especially with Pride Month, is allyship. And although I want to be specific about being an ally for the LGBTQ community, I also just want to talk about being an ally in general for people of color, for immigrants, for women, for any group that you come in contact with that you might not be them. It is important that you recognize you play a role in their life, and you can be an awesome ally. So I have a few rules about what it means to be an ally, and I think it applies to any type of allyship. Number one, you cannot be a self-appointed ally. You cannot say, "Oh, I'm an ally," and that's it. You earn that title. You earn that badge. You show up for the fight. You show up for the celebrations. You become authentically connected to whoever and whatever community. And that connection, go ahead.
And that's one thing I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that's one thing when I'm going to have a short little video I'm going to share about how to be an ally, kind of similar to what you're doing. And that's one thing I want, just make sure people know that the best way to be an ally isn't to say, "Hey, I'm an ally," to not make it about yourself, to show that you're an ally by your actions.
Absolutely. You get awarded that title. You're not a self-appointed ally. You can't say I'm an ally. I also think it's important that it's not about cookie grabbing. It's not about I'm doing the right thing, so here are my cookies, and here's my love, and here's my allyship in its true and authentic form is so organic and so raw and so real that you might not get thank yous all the time.
Definitely.
And I think it's important to recognize, part of allyship is to come to the community you are hoping to be an ally with, and growing and learning with them. You show up and you just see where they need you, and let them direct the work. Let them assert this is what we need. This is where we are. This is who we are. And you follow their lead. But in order to do that, you got to avoid the second toxic ally way in which we interact with each other, which is the savior complex. When your allyship is based on a need to feel like you're a good person, it's harmful. It's harmful. The classic example I give with that one is with respect to racism. I've seen a lot of people who go on service trips out overseas. They go to, Nicaragua or some small village in Ghana, and they work with people there, and they're doing some awesome work, and they'll post a picture surrounded by all these beautiful Black and brown bodies. And and instead of saying join me, or instead of some like learning so much, or instead of something like that, it's just like, I'm awesome, look at this. Or it's like, look at me helping these people. That's the gist of what the post is. And the work may be driven by a want to help. It's also driven by a savior complex. And when you do that, there's a power dynamic you create between the person you are trying to be an ally for and yourself. And that power dynamic, that power that you put yourself as if you are so great that you're able to just save this person, is traumatic for the person you're working with. You don't want that. You want authentic relationship with people,
And then again, that's another example of, excuse me, making it about yourself, letting it be about them, but making it about yourself, about how great you are, and just pumping yourself up.
Yep. So then the next one, naive and clueless. Now I think when it comes to the LGBTQ community, a lot of us fall here. It's an ever evolving, ever growing, ever learning way in which we need to interact with each other, right? I say all the time that the words and the language and the phrases that we use to describe ourselves will evolve as we learn more about ourselves. Humanity is evolving. We don't have all the words, but we're getting there. So like now we're having discussions between non-binary and binary. We're having discussions between what trans is and all of that, right? And I believe that a lot of people are naive and clueless. A lot of allies are. And I think that you can do a lot by Googling and researching and taking the time to just explore what's out there. Make sure that the research you come in contact with is directed and full of the energy of people who are actually members of the LGBTQ community. And I think it's important to recognize if you are naive and clueless, it is not the responsibility of the people of that community to teach you these things. There's an onus on you.
Yeah, and that's, and Sunny, you're actually hitting all the points that I was going to have in the video I was making. It's like, it's not cookie cutter. Everybody is not gay, lesbian, or bisexual. Learning the spectrum of sexuality, like you said, there's transgender, there's non-binary, there's pansexual, and my son Jared and I were talking, excuse me, just the other day, that if my mother and my grandmother were alive, I came out 3 years ago, and that's I'm gonna be 58. That's kind of old. Not really,
young
but
at heart.
my mother and my grandmother would just, they would love me, I know that, but they would just have such a difficult time understanding all of the other things. They would just know the three: gay, lesbian, and bisexual. But yeah, educating yourself, and if people don't understand, it is okay to ask questions, but yeah, it is not the responsibility of us to explain everything. But yeah, do your research. There's plenty of resources out there to help allies understand and learn the spectrum.
Yeah. Yes. I think, and with those resources, you know, learning about someone and who they are and all of that will help you to own the language. Another part of that naive and clueless is we are now expressing ourselves through our pronouns. And
Exactly.
the onus is on all of us to figure that out. So I saw an interesting thing about how it was hard to switch pronouns and use they and all of this when it's in the singular and whatnot. And, you know, I think that it is retraining the brains. It is retraining your brain, but it's worth it. Because
Yes.
recognizing somebody for who they are is worth it. And when you get it wrong, a lot of people are like, well, what do I do if I get it wrong? When you get it wrong and they correct you, I will do better. And you do better.
Yes.
You do better. That's it. Don't make them have to apologize to you for correcting you. Just do better.
Yes.
And acknowledge
Exactly.
it.
Yeah. And I remember not too long ago, I was listening, you know, I was watching channel, listening to a channel, actually watching somebody on YouTube, and somebody asked them what their pronouns were, and that person, that creator, didn't understand what they meant. And, you know, and that wasn't bad. They just weren't aware of what the different pronouns were. And that, you know, and there's a, you know, and that's, you know, something new that even when I came out, I mean, I you know, didn't understand exactly what all of that was. And I felt really weird because I'm thinking, I'm coming out, I'm a lesbian. How do I not know this pronoun thing? And I thought, you know, again, you know, I know, you know, I always, you know, it's really funny. My whole story is really funny, but not funny, but interesting. And so you would think you know, with my history, you would think I would know all these things, but, you know, for me, it was hard getting used to the she, her, hers, or, you know, she, her, and the they, them. But it is really important, once you understand what they are, that you do use the correct pronouns. And it's
about
really,
the impact.
really important.
It's about the impact. And what we're doing is we're showing people that you are you and I see you. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I myself have made mistakes and referred to someone who is a they by he. And I have accepted that and fixed it.
Yes, exactly.
Immediately, no hesitation. And I think it's important, like I always name myself in my Zoom meetings, she, her, so that if there are other people in the room who is it vital for them to name themselves, there's somebody else in the room who's already done it. It creates an area of people being comfortable. And with us getting back into the world now that we're all getting vaccinated, I hope, with us all getting back into the world, and we start to meet more, and we got those little "my name is" tags on ourselves. You can now get the ones that say pronouns. People get to write their pronouns in. Yeah. I encourage people to make space for this to become the normal. We have to move our society so that this becomes the normal.
Yep. After on all of my videos, I, you know, put what my pronouns are. You know, I do that, and, you know, I just believe that that's important. So
I am with you 100%. I'm looking at the last one, and it is kumbaya seeker. The person who, you know, a toxic ally who is a kumbaya seeker, is the person who can't we all just love each other and get along? And they don't want to deal with the ways in which we've interacted with each other in a negative way. They just want to live in all of the happiness, right? And by ignoring the trauma that some people go through to be their authentic selves, by ignoring the trauma, the slavery and Jim Crow and systemic racism has given the African-American community, by ignoring the trauma of standing on land that you know your ancestors owned, but you no longer possess Native, indigenous populations, by ignoring all of that and saying, let's just love each other in the now.
Yeah.
So it's so harmful and disrespectful. And I also think that it doesn't work. You know, there's an African proverb that I love that says the way out is back through. And the way that we are going to make our society a place that everybody can be everybody. Everybody can be who they want to be. We are going to have to acknowledge what we've done to each other in the past. We're going to have to teach our kids. We're going to have to learn the history. We're going to have to think about about how is it possible to convince all of these people that the Holocaust was a good idea? Because there were millions who were okay with it, right? How is it possible that some people are okay with kids in cages? How is it possible? We need to have these conversations. How is it possible that conversion camps for gay and lesbian people existed? We have to tell the stories. How is it possible that people are being killed for simply being transgender? We have to tell stories. We have to acknowledge this history so that we don't repeat it, so we can do better, and so we can honor the legacy of people who have lived it.
And that your point about the murder of transgender women, and that was something I was going to bring up, is that you know, just the fact that, you know, I had a conversation with another content creator just about I'm not going to go into it too much but about what the topic was. But I had brought up the point that, you know, that is something that's just not talked about in the media. You know, they'll talk about the murder of this specific person or this but they always, you know, I have a friend who is transgender who on her page, she always posts, you know, in honoring the murder of somebody, you know, just remembering that. And especially transgender women of color, it is something that you don't see. You just see it's like forgotten, you know, it happens and it's forgotten, and that is wrong.
And they matter.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
And if it's connected, which a lot of times it is, to who they are, then justice must be served.
Yes, exactly.
And it should be treated as a hate crime. So there's a quote I love: "An ally is not a noun. It isn't an identity, a label, or something to claim. Being an ally is taking action, making a stand, doing something to make a difference by standing up against oppression and marginalization. You are an ally when someone else recognizes you as an ally." And I think that leads itself to, like, okay, Sunny, you told me all the things I shouldn't do. And just to recap, so we stay on the same page, we don't want people who are cookie grabbing, self-appointed allies. We don't need people who are driven by savior complexes. We don't need people to remain naive and clueless. We need them to do the work to learn. We don't need people who are kumbaya seekers and are only out of, can't we all just get along, without recognizing the harm we've done to each other. So what does true allyship look like? There are a few ways in which true allyship shows up. One of those ways is fighting for diversity, fighting for people who are not what we have termed as norm, which is in and of itself a problematic phrase, because what is normal? You know, I believe that being transgender is normal. I believe that being Black is normal. I believe that, you know, being white is normal. I don't have these skewed visions, but, you know, the cookie cutter, what we has as a society has decided, you know, where we're going to put that line. We need to get other people in the room. We need different people in the room. But once they're in the room, we need to think about inclusion. And inclusion is making sure that they're able to sit at the table. Can they talk? Do they have a voice? Are they able to say anything about the harm that they're bringing with them that they felt in the past? Are they able to say anything about the harm that is occurring with them being in the room? And then the third piece to that is anti whatever the ism, racism, sexism, homophobia, whatever it is, anti that, okay? And that's when we are allowing the people who are joining us in these spaces to change the spaces. These spaces that we have created in America are meant for white, straight men.
Yes.
And so anybody outside of that can be harmed, can be left out, can be told they're less than. We have to change those spaces so that they are meant for anyone. What does that look like, Sonny? That's a big lofty dream. I get that now. Well, it looks like if you're an employer, you make a way for women who have kids, who are the sole providers for their kids' childcare. You make a way for them to be able to work with you. If that means they work from home a couple of days, if that means you set up daycare solutions, if that means that there's some way you honor and respect their family. It also means you do it for daddy. It means that he's able to take paternity leave when the baby comes. It means you recognize the LGBTQ community marriages. You recognize them and allow them to take family leave when someone is sick. It means that you recognize the need to celebrate Juneteenth and not just the 4th of July.
Yes.
It means you recognize the need to make everybody at your company meetings put she, her, he, him, they, whatever their pronouns are. It means you recognize the importance of teaching your children the reality of why America looks the way it does, why there is all this diversity, and how people came to be here. Are you telling them the stories that tell them that the Irish weren't always considered white? Are you telling them the stories about the Chinese camps that we had, the Japanese internment camps? I'm sorry, not Chinese. Are you acknowledging the hurt and trauma that we put on people? Are you acknowledging that we allowed an Asian woman to be beat on the streets in New York because of COVID, that she has nothing to do with? Are we acknowledging and taking the time to recognize how all of this is possible? Are we ready for the room to change? Yo, are we ready for the room to change? Because room change equals power shift. And shifting the power to the people, the majority of people, will change things. What will it change? Well, it will change, number one, economics. People will have access to power, usually have access to money. We start and change the way educational institutions work, and we change the way workforces work, and we change the way all of the ways in which we interact in that society works. We are going to make some super, super crazy shifts in power dynamics. It should not be difficult for trans people to keep their jobs. It should not be, some LGBTQ shouldn't be hiding who they are from their workplace. So secretive that they don't even tell people that they vote because they don't want them to know anything about their life. Right?
Right. Are you frozen? I think you froze.
And tell me if I'm good.
You're good now.
Okay, sorry. That's the nature of working from home now. Fastest internet still has problems. But what I was saying was, you know, when we start to teach our kids this history and we start to change the rooms of our educational institution, we'll raise smarter babies because they will be thinking critically about how our society got here. How do we get out of this? And they know you can't tell me that you don't see the power in that for all. White people included, white men included, straight people included. You can't tell me. So I am super grateful for our conversation. I don't know if you have any other questions for me.
No, I don't. Other than, it's not a question. It's just you covered everything I was going to cover in my other video. And that is absolutely fine. It is absolutely fine because you did a fantastic job. Excuse me. What I wanted to do, the same thing that I wanted to do with Renard and Brenda and Tamara, and maybe you can join us eventually. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I want to come on and have a live stream where I have all of you guys on as panelists. That way people can ask questions and just kind of deal with all of that. So I'm hoping that within the next 4 or 5 months, I will hit 1,000 subscribers.
Yay! Let's get her there. Share the video, like the video, follow.
Yep, like and subscribe and make sure you ring the bell, everybody. And once I hit 1,000, I'll do a live, and that way we can get people on, and we can get people, and then we can even, besides people talking in the chat, we can bring them on bring them into the conversation as well.
Absolutely.
So other than that, I just want to thank you very much for taking the time. I know you were on TV, an interview. You want share just really quick what you what the interview with the TV station was?
I live in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. We have discovered through the amazing work of a woman named Jerry Holland, we have discovered unmarked graves that belong to formerly enslaved people. And it's a man, a woman, John and Emily Hainsbaker, and their child. So we want to mark that grave. So we are having a Juneteenth event to lift up and to recognize that they matter and start the process of raising the funds to put some grave markers out there. So
that's so exciting.
You can follow me on social media. I have a active Facebook page. Just Google my name, Kenyona Sunny Matthews.
I'll drop that. What I'll do is in the description of this video, I will put the link to your Facebook as well. So people can can find it really easy and click on it.
Thank you so much. You're an awesome person who deserves so much more.
Oh no, I'm happy. I just want more subscribers.
We can do it. We can do it. Well, have me back on. There's a world of things I'd love to discuss with you. I'm really interested in having a conversation with parents. I think parents need to. How do you raise kids in this time?
Oh yeah, I'm happy. Anytime you want to. Anytime you want to make a video on my channel, like I said, I started out with just wanting to be a commentary channel, and then it kind of morphed into, and what got me into bringing people on for interviews is another channel had made some very unfortunate tweets and comments about people in recovery. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start bringing people on. And then, with things with the LGBTQ community and allies, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be bringing people on. So then I just kind of morphed into doing this kind of thing as well as my community. So I just thank you so much. You're welcome. And everybody, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.